Hi, everyone. I'm Max Rodriguez, founder of the Harlem Book Fair and publisher of QBR, the Black Book Review. Thank you for joining us today on the Harlem Book Fair main stage. Today, we're joined by Bluepoetres, and we're going to talk today about her book, All Her Woman and Bend the Knee, a heroic crown of sonnets.
Yes.
Welcome, Bluepoetres.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're happy to. We're happy to. We've had a chance to look at your book. The message is amazing, but I want to start with the artwork. The artwork is simply beautiful. It touches. It is us in every way. It is woman in every way.
Yeah.
Tell us first about the images. How did you find those images? How did you create those images?
Through the wonderful world of Chat GPT, what I did
My
was,
goodness.
yeah, I gave them images of my family. So the cover is reminiscent of my mother. And then the back portrait is my grandmother. And a lot of the women throughout the book are my cousins, aunts, and I would give it a line of the particular poem that I wanted on that page and the image that I wanted it to create. And it created all the images based on the words in the sonnets.
That's pretty amazing because it's
Yeah.
not just the facial images, not just it, but also their dress, their context,
Hmm.
which is all brought together so
Yes.
beautifully.
Thank you.
Let me open by reading this. It's not something it's not something I normally do, but it sets the tone for our conversation. It's
Sounds
your
good to me.
opening poem, Woman is She. Mother, daughter, sister, woman is she. It is time, black woman. Adjust your crowns. Listen carefully and hear this decree. Flaunt a red lip, high heels, and your best gown. And it goes on to say more. And that leads us to our next question. Tell us
Mhm.
about the book, why and what brought you to the point where you wanted to create this ode, this homage to Black women, to the feminine spirit.
Ooh. Um, Super short answer is as an educator, as a mother, I have influence over my girls. And I feel that in 2025, there has been a deterioration of pride, particularly with our young girls of color. And I wanted to write something that would evoke the ancestry, the history, where they came from, what their lineage is, and to kind of instill that need for having pride in oneself as they carry themselves, whether it's through school, through work, and in their future selves. I wanted that to be prevalent and bring it back.
You mentioned you're an educator. You are in fact that. Just tell us a little bit about your professional background.
I have been at the same school since 2001 as an English teacher. And in the recent years after COVID, I transitioned from the classroom and I'm now a dean. So I help with the rules, regulations, compliance in our building. And I think a lot of that kind of helped shape what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. Um, Doing it in a sonnet form was something different. It was a more elegant way of saying, hey, we mean more than what we give out on a daily basis. We deserve more than what we're just accepting as children. it's sometimes heartbreaking when you ask a child what they want to be. And in 2025, again, most of them, oh, I just want to be an influence. Oh, I just want to be a TikTok creator. And when you say, well, based on your grades, you could be a scientist, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer. And the response, the kids look back at you and like, I could do that. Um, they don't believe that they can. And it's sad.
You are in a school, you are working in a school, and you see your daughters and you see the young ladies move about the school. What is it that you see about them that that uplifts you, and what is it about them that you see that concerns you?
That uplifts me. That's easy. So I'm the advisor for a scholars program, the Gateway to Higher Learning. Our parent program is through City College. There are about 11 Gateway programs in all of New York. And one of the things that brings me unbelievable joy is our scholars, that they are high achieving. We have them dressed for success every single Tuesday. That by itself is a beautiful thing to see. Um, I work to get them internships, scholarships, community service opportunities. We go on really fantastic trips. We have a lot of partner programs, so we're highly STEM based. So many of our students get internships in medicine, in biology, in chemistry. We do have some in law. Um, and it's fantastic to see the things that they can do. And recently I was compared to Thanos because I have been collecting valedictorians and salutatorians like infinity rings. So I'm really proud that I have another valedictorian this year through my program. So that right there is definitely my joy every day are my scholars. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, um, the cause for concern. Our children today, there's no accountability. There's no fear for repercussions for bad behavior. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of it comes handed down from the parents. So when I think about our generation, I'm 52. If you got a call from your school, you were terrified. Now when you tell a kid, well, I'm gonna call home, and it's that they throw the threat back at you. Well, go ahead and call my mom. What you gonna do? My mom's gonna come up here and then the parents do come up and challenge, not the child for the bad behavior, but challenge us for trying to hold their children accountable for bad behavior. And I think that shift in education is to our detriment, that our children
Mm.
no longer see consequences, that it's just, well, so, and I'm not going to class. My mom said I don't have to. I don't feel my mental health today. We couldn't say that growing up.
And so, how does this show up? Does it show up in your poetry?
Yes. I write a lot based on real life experiences, what I see, hear, touch, smell, and my students, my relationships definitely correlate with the things that I write. Um, One of the last things that I wrote earlier this year, I had a group of my scholars, girls, in my fifth period, and I wrote an ode to my fifth period girls. And they were phenomenal. I couldn't even get through half the poem without tearing up because they graduated. And they were just the most, this is what we have to do to succeed, and we need to listen to our the adults in our lives, and they were motivating to their peers, and they just had this air of wanting to succeed and not letting anything stop them from graduating and going on to prestigious universities. And yes, absolutely, they shape my poetry and my writing.
And this is what I saw in reading through the poetry. I saw this intention. I saw this love. Let me ask you, um, who is the book written for?
Black
I
women,
know that
black
sounds like
girls.
an obvious
It's
question, but
it
was
it,
it
it is
written
and
for
it's
the young
not.
ladies? Was it written for
It,
every woman? It seems to me that you write for everyone, but please.
yes. It's definitely for everyone. It is my goal that every person read it, young, old, male, female. I feel that because of the research that went into it, the historical context that's in it, many people don't know about Henrietta Lacks. Many people don't know about the Eve Code gene. Like, I feel that this is something that can be taught in elementary school all the way up to the collegiate level. Um, and again, people don't know. You don't miss what you don't know. You don't feel the reverence if no one's ever told you that you're beautiful. You know,
That's
we
right.
have students every day that it's boggling to me that if you compliment someone, they've never had someone compliment them before, not a family member, not a staff, and they're genuinely taken aback. And when the few students that have had conversation with me about my book, they look at it and they're just like, I can do this. You think we look like this? You know, that's really why, and that's who it's for. The people, the kids, the men, women, children that don't know.
And that's why I asked the question because the book is full of acknowledgement, the type of acknowledgement that we don't often hear about our women. You know,
Mhm.
those who nurture our children, those who grow our generation. What a huge responsibility! And my goodness, the amount of grace that's required and intelligence and vision that's required to move a nation forward, to move a community, a generation forward. This book honors all of that to the point where you say, call her woman and bend a knee. Now, tell me more about that. That's a very, very explicit request.
Yes, I've gotten a lot of questions about that. That was an homage to a Game of Thrones, this series, um, and that notion of power and also acceptance. So not just the person that needs to bend the knee, the person that is accepting of the person who is in fact bending the knee. Um, and I think that that is twofold. Um, so a lot of people have asked, well, because this is such a woman-centered text, what about the men? And I'm like, that's next. That is next. Because I
Well,
feel that that is also very, very necessary. I have a black father, a black son, and a black husband, and a black brother, and their voices need to be heard as well.
this is true, and I want to say that this is rightfully the first of those expressions because it is not for me bend the knee as in as in recognize as much it is bend the knee in gratitude
Mhm,
in love
mhm.
in honoring. So then just tell us about a favorite poem and what the title is and what inspired you to it.
One of my favorite poems, it's when you see it on paper, it's Dear Black Girl Who Doesn't Love Being Black. And then the half of the title is crossed out. Um, and it is my love letter to, again, to our Black girls because they don't see it. They think that if they're not twerking, if they're not showing off their body, if they're not wearing a pound of makeup and fake hair, that they're not beautiful, that they're not worthy. And trying to tell them essentially this is a love letter that says, take the lashes off, take the makeup off, like really take a long look in the mirror at how beautiful you are as is, as you were God given. And it's something that I feel very deeply about again, because I am the mother of a daughter who had body image issues, and growing up in the suburbs and having her, you know, white classmates look at her as different because she was one of maybe 10 at the time when we moved here in our whole school district. So trying to make sure that our young girls are comfortable in whatever space that they're in, because if you don't have that first love for yourself, how can you expect anyone to love you, um, in all of your beauty and all of your flaws without that first love for yourself?
Here's something else that I heard in reading your book, reading through your poetry. I remember a time when you said you have a daughter, one daughter, two daughters,
I have one daughter and one son.
a daughter and a son. You have a daughter. And I remember growing up and feeling, knowing that I was son to everyone in the neighborhood. Someone would look at me knowing who I am and my family, and I had a sense that they were my surrogate parents. They had their eye on me, right?
Hmm.
Because they
Hmm.
had the eye on all of the community, every one of us, because every young one grows to become a older, right, an older caretaker of the community. And what I heard in your book was a plea, was a request, was a call to action that we would all see our children and the children of others as part of our collective family, all under the umbrella
1000%.
of
Yes.
called, you are called woman, and this
Mhm.
is why. This is your responsibility, and here are your gifts. This is the grace that you've been given through your feminine spirit. I heard all of that in your book, and this is why I had to speak with you.
Yes. That is very important.
Where would we find where would a reader find your book?
They can get it on Amazon. They can get it on Barnes and Nobles. They can get it at a few local bookstores on Long Island. You can get it on Book Baby. So it's available online. If you just do a little quick Google search, you'll find me.
Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience before we close our conversation?
Just as a society, as you said, being there for one another, giving each other grace. I feel a lot of times that's missing. We're all in a rush to do and to get to certain places, and there isn't enough pausing and giving each other grace. And one of the things that I instill with my students, and we actually instituted this as an actual initiative, is we have greeters. So my students every day, I have a handful of students every morning that stand in the building as people, students, parents, teachers, staff coming in just to say, good morning, have a good day. And I've noticed the change and the shift because you come in and you're so focused, but to have someone actually see you and say, hey, good morning. I like your hat. I like your shoes. It changes how you move in the rest of your day. So I would challenge everyone to just pause sometimes and just say, hello. to somebody because you never know that hello could change and sometimes even save somebody's life.
I was in Toronto just a little while ago, just sitting into a local book festival there. And as part of the festival, there was a woman with her young daughter on a chair, and while the readings were going on, she was busy braiding her child's hair. And I just love sort of the completeness of that. And I said to her, I hear what's going on stage, but this is love too, and they started laughing. So again, I heard that in your book, Call Her Woman and Bend the Knee, a heroic crown of sonnets. Thank you, Bluepoetres, for joining us today, for sharing your stories. It is truly music. At one point, I was not a poetry person, and then one day I read poet Sonia Sanchez's Does Your House Have Lions? And I got it. And I heard the music in the poetry. I heard the lyricism, and I hear the music and the lyricism in your work. So
So,
thank you for that. Thank you for telling our story.
thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you all for joining us today on the Harlem Book Fair's main stage. We've been joined by Bluepoetres and her new book, Call Her Woman and Bend the Knee, a
Mhm.
heroic crown of sonnets. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next book.